In chapter two of the smartphone paradox, Dr. Reed highlights a lot of the history behind smartphones, and he also talks about benefits of smartphones, drawbacks, concerns, our dependency on the smartphones, um, economical and social implications, and reflects on his own perspective. Um, First, in the very beginning, we learn about the iPhone and how about 10 years ago, or no, in when this was written, but I don't know the exact date now, but over upwards of 15 years ago, um, the first generation iPhone was like invented, which was like groundbreaking for technology because it was pretty much the first of its kind. It talks about how before that there were flip phones and Blackberries, and I can say from personal experience, I remember like playing on my mom's Blackberry and like thinking it was the coolest thing, and then like one Christmas I got an iPod and I was like, wow, this is crazy. And then eventually, by the time I got to fourth grade, I got my first iPhone that had like Wi-Fi and data and I could text and like play games and like I couldn't have social media yet, but like all those things were kind of starting to unravel in my life. And it was just like groundbreaking because we had never seen something like that before. Like beforehand, I was used to like games, like physical games I would play with, like my dolls. And then by the time the phone came in, that pretty much disappeared. In the chapter, we learn about some of the benefits of smartphones, talking about like things like accessibility. Smartphones allow people to stay connected from pretty much anywhere all over the world. I have friends over in California right now, and then I also have friends in Florence, Italy, studying abroad, and I can talk to them no problem, which is really cool. And before smartphones, we didn't have anything like that. We can access like live information. Like I remember in a class I had last semester, our teacher said, the first person to tell me the headline on NBC News right now gets extra credit. And we all picked up our phones and Googled that so quickly, and we got a response within seconds because that's how quickly you can do things with smartphones. Um, we can engage in social media, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, all those kinds of things on a daily basis very quickly without any issue. And they also make daily life efficient. I use my phone and my Apple Watch for working out every day, setting timers for my laundry, setting timers for my reading. I use my phone for everything to text my mom, to talk to my parents back home, my family, my sisters. I use it for homework sometimes. You can use them for pretty much anything. They're mini laptops at this point. We also learned some drawbacks, which is kind of obvious in my opinion, but like alienation from like the social world. I think since phones became such a big thing, we do talk to the people around us less. I remember in high school, or in middle school rather, we weren't allowed to have phones. And then we go to high school and we have phones now, and you're walking in the halls and no one's talking to anyone. Your headphones are in, you're on your phone. But in middle school, like you were forced to talk to the people around you because everyone was, and no one had a phone to be on because they weren't allowed. Um, Mental health is another big thing, but I think that you can, I don't think phones can be, in my opinion, like a sole reason for mental health issues, just because I think that overuse of anything can be bad for you. But um, Reed also, or Dr. Reed also highlights concerns about data collection, surveillance, and like the erosion of personal privacy through smartphone use because we don't have any more privacy. Like what was happening in the TikTok ban, we weren't. TikTok has all our information. They can find out my debit card information in a second if they want it. Based on Dr. Reed's perspective, we can understand that he kind of has a balanced approach. Like in the first chapter, he goes back to talking about how um, he wants the phones in his class for both sometimes good use, but sometimes also kids get distracted and use them for bad use, but sometimes that can be out of his control. He talks a lot about how individuals need to develop healthier boundaries with their phones, and I think that can be really hard for college students.